gotta lock in, bro. we gotta lock in, dog. Hey, time is money. Time is money. All right.
Literally.
Factual, bro. Like this shit is expensive. Hello. Welcome in. This is Birds of a Feather podcast with your boy Q City.
Your boy Taj Bravado.
And this is episode 38. Butterface.
Special.
A win is a win. A win is a win. Right? So we're about to look at last week versus the Jets. Look at next week. Big game coming against the Bucs. We'll check out how these playoff scenarios are looking in division. And then we got some city talk at the end. So come along with us. Enjoy this ride. Let me move this over here because guys, I'm getting old anyway. All right. So, Taj, my man, we are coming off a win versus the hapless New York Jets, right? Yeah. 13-8 win. It was ugly. It must be her ass because it ain't a face, boy. It was ugly. But a win is a win. A win is a win, my man. So we're looking at it. We're sitting 6-6 right now atop the division. There wasn't a lot to speak on offensively, but I got bars for the special teams and defense. But tell me what you thought about the game, man.
Like you said, it wasn't pretty, but it still got the job done, you know. Ain't really much to complain about. The defense still holding down. Offense, I mean, I think you still got to realize that the Jets is a top tier defense, so it was never going to look easy. So it's an acceptable
we talked
win
about
because it's at the end of the day, it's a W. So we take it.
No, I'm playing. So
I thought about
it. So he got in the game today because Carr was out. But either way, we'll get to that in the division. The one thing that I was going to bring out was the fact that our offense didn't do our defense no favors today, man. No favors. And I do understand that the Jets defense is very highly regarded. I love the fact that they talked on the broadcast that Arthur was trying to get the tight ends involved. You know what I'm saying? He felt like he could exploit that. It seemed like early he did. Obviously, the tight end was the only one to catch a touchdown for the day. I just think outside of playing, in terms of playing complementary football, our offense really did not move our defense and put us in the best position. I felt like our defense carried us legitimately, multiple turnovers. Granted, the Jets offense is hard to watch. Like, I'm a Falcons fan, and we trying to get money off this, and it was still hard to watch that game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in all truthful honesty, I mean, they were able to handle their business and get a dub. You know what I'm saying? I think when I look at our offense, we had right up under 100 yards rushing, right up under or right over it at 100 yards rushing. And we were able to implement all three backs, right? Bijan obviously was the workhorse today. Algier came in for the heavy yards. We talked about that. Even in the betting pod, we said, that may be the obstacle for Bijan getting his 58 and a half yards. So
he was 5 short.
I know it. It's 8, but that under cash because it was 79 total yards, my man. I was sweating that under. But regardless, I definitely view the offense as having its warts for the day. Definitely a lot to take back to the drawing board, but I can't say Ritter had a bad day. In fact, against a defense like this, I think he made just enough plays not to lose you the game. And sometimes you got to play the role of game manager.
He also got lit down with a few drops. Pitts had a case of the drop C's today, but I mean,
speaking of the receiving core, London did not get involved today at all, man. All.
He had 5 targets, 1 catch, and 8 yards.
Oh, they called it 5 targets? I thought it was 4. They must account like a overthrow or something as a target. Man. And Sauce wasn't on him all day. Sauce wasn't on him
No,
all day. He didn't travel with them all day.
it's interesting the way they were playing it because like and I'm kind of annoyed at the fact that Kyle Pitts can't take advantage of someone like DJ Reed because DJ Reed's 5'9". You are 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
Bully that man.
I
Like
don't know, bro, because we got another 5'9" person to talk about in a minute on defense. We'll
oh,
get to it.
we do, but they ain't got no Kyle Pitts over there. Like you
I
six
mean,
six,
they got
you're tabbed as the unicorn. Play like one.
nah. So I do think that he was playing kind of small, but like we discussed earlier, Ritter's ball placement isn't always where it needs to be, right? Especially in terms of
It's not, but it hit him in the
letting your big
hands.
players play big, letting your big players play big.
If anything, his ball placement allows your big players to play big because he ain't throwing it low. When he misses, usually high,
I
which
think that
leans into having the bigger players. Because because it was what it didn't count as an interception, but on the interception, Pitts just lost the ball.
he did. He lost it in the air. He lost it. He lost that in the air, and it was pretty evident that he lost it in the air.
Yeah,
I think in that situation,
Ritter's
you
gonna
just
give you a
lucky not to
shot.
throw the pick. At least
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
At least
Luckily,
once.
he gonna give you a shot. It's just maybe Pitts, and you know what, him and Pitts still got to work out their chemistry together. Because Desmond leans on Drake a whole lot, but the games where he needs to lean on Pitts, the chemistry's probably not as strong as it is with Drake. But I do it if he returns as the starter, or if even in these next 5 games, I expect it to get better, at least to the point to where in the playoffs is more reliable.
Well, actually, we're going to take a little detour from the defense and special teams. Let's kind of expound on that, right? So if Ritter comes back as a starter, right? The way these next 5 games is set up, we have a very good chance of having a home playoff game. And
Yeah, the opportunity's there.
with that being the case, I don't see how you reasonably usurp the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you really start delving into his relationships with the receiving core. What is Pitt's value? I'm a huge Kyle Pitts fan. He needs to be on his team. So hear me out when I'm saying this. What is Kyle Pitts' value if you haven't built that relationship or are utilizing him properly within the offense? Right? One of the things you always bring out is we don't know the reads, right? We don't know exactly where he's being
Mm-hmm.
told to look. But I feel as you unfurl this offense, you have to use the people you drafted with top 10 picks. And it seems like you're really leaning on London in these situations. You're getting Bijan involved a little bit more. Like we called that second half of the season. You're definitely going to lean on him. But like, where does Pitts fit into this equation? And if you're looking to have this dynamic offense with all these, playmakers on the outside, inside threats on in both ways, like how do you get Pitts involved? Where do you get Pitts involved? And what is his defined role within the offense? And I think that's something that Arthur's really going to have to flesh out because it's looking like how things are presently constructed, Ritter is going to be here at least for the next 21 games, 22 games.
Yeah. So I think today is an insight into what Pitts can be. It's not perfect, but people still got to realize Pitts is only 23 years old. He's still wet behind the ears. Yeah, this is his 3rd year, but he got drafted at 20. His and tight end is a position that where typically you don't really see that breakout till about the 3rd, going in maybe 4th year. Now,
And
him
I think
coming
his
off an
first year
injury,
he benefited. I think his
he
first year
been
he benefited greatly from
from
having a
having Matt Ryan.
14-year quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah. So like now you're coming back down into the quarterback that's probably not as seasoned, who's not going to be able to identify the coverages as fast or other variables that we probably aren't privy to. So I think as Ritter grows, you'll see Pitt's production goes up because even though we all complain about, I'm not maybe not us specifically, but across the Falcon base, people complain about Pitts, and when you look at it in terms of other tight ends, Pitts is a top 10 tight end. Sure, he don't have the touchdown production, but in terms of yards, he's the top 10, maybe even top 5 tight end. Um,
I think 10. I think he's like 9 or 10 in most categories.
yeah,
The only thing is like tight ends are. That's actually one of our city talk topics is talking about how it's a good year for defense, just because like touchdown production is down across the league. You know what I'm saying? So hell, even with what does he have? 2 touchdowns this year or one?
might be 2. It might, um,
Yeah, it's low. Like
yeah.
hell, I think the tight ends are eating this year in terms of touchdowns. I know Kittle had like 3 in a game, so I'm pretty sure he's at like 7 or 8. Uh Trying to think, not Hawkinson, uh Detroit's tight end. Detroit's tight end that
Oh,
they just
Laporta,
drafted. He just
Sam
had
Laporta. Yeah,
yeah, he's got a couple. You know what I'm saying? So like I think in terms of touchdowns, like you said, he might be on the outside looking in, but definitely in yardage, he's like 9 or 10 in most categories.
yeah. And even with
Yards
Sam Laporta, you also got to realize he's playing with a veteran quarterback that knows defenses better and all of that. So when you're dealing with a young
in a
quarterback,
wide open offense.
yeah, because you have weapons at every level in the Lions offense, and we do too. But we're still figuring the quarterback situation out. But I do feel that they're banking on Ritter's development, and as he continues to grow with the offense, everything will eventually open up to what we think could be a very promising future. Because, like to me, the way that this feels like it feels kind of like the Eagles when they got started with Hurts. You know,
That's exactly where I was going with it.
yeah.
That's it.
So,
See,
cause like
we
the
right
last,
there.
cause Hurts came in the last 4 games of his rookie year, took over the
Mhm.
second year. They crawled onto the playoffs, and then the third year everything took off. So
Mhm.
it looks like we're mirroring that projection because the defense is taking off now. We may not have the Eagles line, but we still have in most metrics we have a top 5 O line. Um, no matter how much they piss us off at times, but so it fit.
Oh man, like are we gonna talk about that safety today? We gonna talk about our rookie getting
Yeah,
manhandled today?
it was that one. It was him, but it wasn't even him because he got tackled by he got tackled by whoever the tight end was
Bruh, it
because
was
he was the whole left side got caved in.
yeah, yeah, like
But
it was,
yeah,
and it was immediate, bro. It was
yeah,
immediate.
yeah.
It was like hike
Probably wasn't the
centering.
best.
Like what are we talking?
Yeah, probably wasn't the best play call in that situation. But I mean, when you get dominated,
Well,
it don't
the
matter
way
anyway.
yeah, the way they were running, the way they were stopping the run, it
Yeah,
just it didn't make sense to run into the line. A toss didn't make sense. We saw later in the day, I forgot what game it was, but we saw later in the day a toss resulted in a safety. It might have been the Rams and Browns game, but like,
probably.
yeah. So at some point, you gotta understand, like,
Yeah.
hey, I might have to throw out of this situation, but like the left side did not hold up at all.
No, they did okay in pass protection. I mean, they still gave up 3 sacks, but they did much better than they did versus the run. But yeah, but I do see us following that Eagles trajectory. So I'm hoping, you know, they give rid of that grace because, I mean, he's had his up and downs, but that's as any young quarterback not named T.J. Charles is going to have. So I'm optimistic. Um, but yeah, today he did what he needed to do. We didn't make any turnovers. No turnovers today. No turnovers today, which was huge. Um,
In a
and
wet, rainy game. In a
yeah,
wet,
I
rainy,
mean they started
sticky
out ugly with
game. It
that.
was
Started out ugly fumbling the snap, but I mean outside of that, it was a relatively clean game, as clean as you could have in that type of environment. So
mhm.
yeah, so
A road win. A
yeah,
road
road
win,
win,
which
outdoor in the elements against a good defense. So yeah, I'm not mad about it at all. So
nah, I'm loving it. So now we get to talk about my special little nerdy point. Cause I bet the kicking points on coup. My special teams, right? Withstanding of that one. I don't think he should have caught it anyway, but it bounced. They caught it at they downed it at the damn near half-yard line, resulted in a safety. I talk all the time about the power of special teams, right? And maybe that's just because like I wasn't good enough to see field all the time, so I had to play special teams regardless. Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, but even still, you know what I'm saying? Like special teams, it truly is the third phase of the game. You saw today it
Mhm.
resulted in points for the defense. One of the best changes that I saw, they put Alfred back there to field
Yeah,
the punts.
he looked
His return,
he looked way
his
better, way
bro,
better.
his return. Here's the crazy part: his return average ain't even crazy, dog.
It just looked
His
better. It
return
passed the eye
average,
test.
bro. His return average was great because this was a game. This was a game that was dominated by field position, right?
Yeah.
He caught the punts he was supposed to catch. He let the ones go he was supposed to let go. Dug his heels at the 10. I'm catching anything before this, anything behind it. I'm gonna block a gunner and let it go. Hopefully they don't down it. And he stuck to it. You can see he stuck to the plan. They had one where it was angled to the sideline, and these are those hidden yardage moments, right? They punted from they put it from their side of the 50. So it was between the
Mhm.
49 and 45, right? Angled it toward the sideline. But it was gonna drop in bounds, right?
Mhm.
Usually what's been happening is that ball bounces and we let it take take and go, right? So like it may bounce at the 15, but then we let it go out of bounds at the 11, right?
Mhm.
Or just because a football is oblong, it bounces at the 15 and it may take a cut in. Now we're fielding from the 5, we're fielding from the 7. That's what happened the whole freaking Tennessee game, right?
Yeah.
He got the hidden yards of not letting it bounce and then taking it 2 or 3 yards up the sideline, right? And so like that's a difference. And this is like the little like the game of inches stuff, bro. That's the difference from you starting at the 11 and starting at the 20.
Yeah.
That's literally like your offense getting a first down. But even more importantly, you go 3 and out from the 11, right? And you gain between 7 and you gain 7 yards, right? And you're punting from the 18. Usually most punts have an average about 50 yards. They're going to get the ball at their 30, 35, 40 yard line, right?
Mhm.
If the same thing happens from the 20 and you're damn near at the 30 and you punt that ball, they're starting at their 30 yard line, bro. They're starting between their 25 and 30. You've completely flipped how they're going to call their offense and do their game planning, right?
Yeah.
Especially in relation to what the clock is looking like. I felt like today, and then of course, Koo is a monster. Cashed on the 6.5 kicking points. Let's go. But I just felt like today was really good third phase special teaming and a good, and we needed it today for a game like today, right? Because today's whole game was field position and defense. And
Yeah.
in those games, Belichick's a master of it. In those games, if your special teams let you down, you lose those games.
Yeah.
You lose that game if your special teams let you down. And it
And
looked
our
good
special
today.
teams came through for us when we needed it the most.
Now the exciting part. We need to talk about this defense. Bruh, we got an elite defense. And it feels good because as a Falcons fan, be honest, when the last time you said that shit? Like when the last time you could literally look at it and say, we have an elite top of the line defense, bro.
Probably the closest thing maybe was like 2017, maybe, and they were teetering, but this feels a little different. The pass rush still ain't quite there, but Arnold Ebiketie these
17.
past 5 games has been on a nice little tear.
17.
4 sacks, one forced fumble. We didn't get it back, but Ebiketie has been looking really good these past 5 weeks. And it look like he's starting to finally catch a little rhythm, and hopefully he can build on these next 5 games.
He is looking he's looking good, man. He's looking good, obviously. Calais sack numbers have never been super high, right? But he's a run stopper, he's a
He's a
line
run stopper,
disruptor.
but he's there for that. There for that veteran presence and the things that the coaches can't teach.
Now our linebackers are coming up and making a lot of plays. I do think we're missing Grady a little bit. Not in the sense that like it's a detriment to the team, but you do notice it a bit on especially those stretch run
Money
plays.
downs, yeah.
But overall, I think that the line is doing their job. The
Now,
linebacking core right now. I was sad when Landman went out with the knee thing, and I hope that doesn't linger because was it a was it a fumble? It was a late fumble that I don't think they called a fumble. He dove on the ground and then he kind of winced getting up. Right, I think it was like two possessions before the end of the game. Not the fumble that was actually a fumble that they called back on some bullshit. Like it was an incomplete pass. Anyway, he rolled over and tried to get it, and then he kind of winced getting up. But it was
mm,
fourth down anyway. I think you
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
talking about. I think it was
I
yeah, it was
yeah.
fourth down anyway. So, but yeah, I hope that knee thing doesn't linger. We'll have to keep an eye on him throughout the week. And then in the secondary, AJ going down sounded
Yeah,
like a really big thing.
I think it's just concussion. I think he'll be fine in the grand scheme because he do damn near head but at the back of his head.
Yeah, yeah. And it was scary how he went down because it seemed like he went down out. Like
Yeah,
because usually when you're going down to the ground in a tackle situation like that, because AJ's really good at. We don't talk enough about how AJ tackles as a corner. Like he's really that's all pro AJ. You know what I'm saying? So usually when you're leading with your shoulder, what he has a great habit of doing is putting his elbow down as he's going to the ground to kind of barrel roll into his landing. You know, after he takes down a running back, he's not scared to
hmm
take down bigger guys. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So like he'll lead with his shoulder, lead with this forearm part, and then he'll usually brace himself on the ground. Well, when he got hit, like his arms went straight. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And like he kind of fell to the ground. So that leads me to the thinking that like he fell out. And that's a scary thing. You know,
yeah.
concussions are
Especially in the
always
back of
scary.
the head, especially back of the head because
Mm-hmm.
that's not what you want to see. But I'm optimistic that he'll be back next week. Even if not next week, well, I really would prefer him to be back next week because we need it. We need it. He's
But
got to have.
in his absence, Clark Phillip the
Oh yeah,
third balled out today.
Clark was balling. He was
Balled out today,
now
man.
Clark showed an element of his game that I didn't really see on film or watching at Utah, and he showed a surprising element of physicality.
Mm-hmm.
He's the smallest guy in the secondary, but he was not afraid to come up and lay the boom. I was very impressed with that. He was solid in
Yeah, he
coverage.
got a penalty. He
He
got
did
a
get a
late penalty
penalty,
on him.
but hey, you can live with that. If you're playing aggressive and fast, you can live with it. So I'm not mad at that. So Clark played great in my and you seen it too. Now, on the other side,
Akuda got to go. Akuda got to go, bro. We got to go ahead. We got to be looking to draft a corner this year. Akuda got to
see
go. Hey, look, no, because
I'm not even.
I've been quiet about it. I've been quiet about it for
I'm
weeks.
not.
He got to go, bro.
I'm not gonna say he gotta go. He's just good as a number two. Cause the thing is, like as a number two, he's fine. He's fine. But when you put him on number ones, and that's the second time that's the second week he's given up that deep pass where he loses the ball. Um,
For all right. Let's get into it. Let's get into it because you nerdy too. So I'm about to bring it out of you, my man. As a tall, lanky corner, right? He's not as physical as you want him to be, right? So he's handsy, gets called unnecessarily for penalties. He loses the ball in the air. He's easily attackable on comeback routes, which doesn't make sense because he's a zone corner. These are things
he
that
see,
become an issue.
see my thing
These are
is
things that are an issue.
Akuda is not his own corner though. His specialty is man. He excels in press man situations. Zone, he's not as good. AJ is capable of both, but it's rare that you're going to have two cornerbacks that both excel in both coverages, and that's okay. Now, I'm of the belief that I wouldn't mind having a quarterback on a cheap contract if he wants some starter money. Then, hey, pull the hook.
I think right now he's on a 1 year deal, bro.
Yeah.
But
He's on the last year of his contract. Because when we traded for him, Detroit declined his 5th year option, but they opted to pay the majority. So we only paying him $500K for the season, I believe, or maybe $1 million. But
so if that's the case, he's in the 4th year. He was the 3rd pick overall.
yeah,
He got to be making what, like $8 million this year?
Detroit paying it. We ain't.
It don't matter if they're paying it. You got to play him. Like
No, because it's only costing us about maybe $1 million or less. That's all he counts on our salary cap. So I mean, but for the pedigree, it's fine. Like he hasn't been bad. He's had good games. He's had bad games, but cornerback is one of those positions to where like you could do everything right, 95 plays out of 100, but people gonna talk about the 5 you fucked up.
Hey, but here's the thing: it's more than 5, my man. It's
It's
more than
not
5.
though. It's not because the thing is he's not constantly getting cooked. Our secondary has been is the strength of our team. When you just allow him to lock up a play man against people who
Because
are
we have
better
2
matchup,
all pros back there. Of course, it's the strength of our team. We have 2 all
well,
pros
yeah,
in the
we
secondary.
do, but
He is not one of them.
But
He is not.
Akuda's not the weak link either, though.
Alfred ain't it? Okay, all right. Let's run it through it. Because it ain't
Richie Grant's
Jesse.
the weak link. Richie Grant.
Okay, touche, my nigga. Touche, my nigga. Touche, my nigga. All right, hey, you got it. You got it. Yeah.
The Cardinals called it out themselves. The tight end said, "Yeah, I knew Richie was on me, so Kyler throw it to me."
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like Akuda has played solid. He's average starter level. Like, can you replace? Can you get better? Yes. Can you get worse? Yes.
You can get worse. You can get worse.
But
so here's the thing.
Okay with Okuda, but due to the time out of his contract, I don't think he will be back unless it's like a very team friendly contract.
I could do 3 for 19 with like the last year being a funny year, so it's really like a 2 for 11 type deal, which makes his contract very movable the next year. Mm-hmm. But this was the number 3 overall pick. I don't think he's signing for that, especially
he's not getting whatever pedigree. He hasn't lived up to that. Like he knows that. He knows he's not getting that. But
I mean, yeah, but like when you're accustomed to making a certain amount of money to do a job, because you got to think about it from an agent point of view. He started knock on wood. He started all 16 games healthy for a playoff team. You can bring up the stats of what he allowed in coverage, break down blase. But at the end of the day, I was the number 3 overall pick. I was playing on the last year of my rookie deal. You did not restructure that deal, right? So I'm a true free agent. You can hold my restricted free agency rights, but like you don't want to restrict. Like,
no, you can't restrict. You can only
like
restrict. What is it? People who are on 3-year deals, like undrafted free agents and stuff. You can't restrict them.
Yeah, so you can't restrict them. You would have to franchise tag them.
No, he's not getting
paying that shit.
He's not getting the tag.
Yeah, you're not paying that shit. So you want to reach some type of agreement with them. I could see him on the open market. Some team not paying him as a number 1 corner, but really giving him like $8 to $9 million a year and signing him 3 for 27 type shit. I'm not gonna sign you 3 for 27. It's not. I don't think.
I mean, that's not a year. That's not bad for a starting corner. That's not. It's not bad. Not under 10 a year is not bad for a starting corner.
We have to pay AJ.
Yeah, but AJ has a 5th year option. Basically, what's going to happen? AJ money really ain't. They gonna pay AJ this year, right? But really, how it's going?
You're gonna reallocate his money over the life of the deal.
Yeah, you're gonna take whatever the money he get on this 5th year, spread that shit out over the life of the next contract. So his cap is gonna be very low next year, but they're gonna give him some upfront money just to make it feel good. But the cap is gonna be low. So that's gonna open up a cap at least because I think the 5th year tags were maybe 15 mil or so, give or take, maybe a little higher.
For a corner, yeah, for a corner it's about 15.
Yeah, when they extend him, it's gonna drop the cap hit, and it's gonna open up because without that, I think we're looking at about $50 million next year in available cap funds. So once you extend AJ, it's going to open it up to maybe 60, 62. Then, Terry's very cap savvy, so he's going to find ways to extend other things. So I don't mind paying Okuda 3 for 27 if AJ's making, because AJ about to get it back. AJ gonna be making,
AJ's AAV is going to be like 21 easy.
It's going to be anywhere between 18 and 21. Yeah. So
yeah, it's going to be 21 like easy.
So yeah. So if AJ making 20, I don't mind paying another cornerback 9, but make it a 2-year deal, and if just make the last year a funny year. So I don't mind that.
How I would look at it is kind of like I would be
allocating as a number 2 corner.
Yeah, and you know what? That just may be me looking at you from the lens of a number 1 corner, right? But at the end of the day, it's very, very noticeable that once AJ went out, you could not step into that role. Like that's not you, big dog. You are not him. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, Jesse Bates, as usual, fucking certified baller, bro. Yeah. Certified baller, dog. Yeah. Another pick today, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, controlling every bit of the field. Like he's just.
Oh, that was a pick. It looked like a punt to me.
Arm punt, bro. Arm punt. Like we haven't even really got on the Jets offense, bro. Like
there's no need.
Yeah, our defense is good.
Sometimes the jokes write themselves, man. Just
no. You want to talk about a joke writing itself. You want to talk about a joke writing itself, bro. 180 for Tim Boyle. You take him out at 148. Had like with
he was playing horrible.
Drive left in the third quarter. Yeah, he's Tim Boyle. He's Tim Boyle. What do you mean he played horrible? He's Tim Boyle. He's been the same. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. He has been the same man since he got his diploma, threw the cap on the other side, and every single place he's played football, he's been absolutely freaking terrible. He's Tim Boyle. He is who he is, and you knew this when you started him. It was to be honest, it was really the disrespect to Zach. It was really disrespectful to Zach at the end of the day, if we really want to talk about it. Because you're literally saying a dude who's been terrible every bit of his life is better than you. It just is what it is.
I mean,
but for you to not have the gonads to go ahead and see it all the way through, so I could cash my bet, you really a butthole for that.
Oh, they hating, huh? They hating. Now, the funniest thing about Tim Boyle was his last play. Just seeing the body language after he threw that pick. I was.
He knew he was over. He knew it was over, bro. He knew it was over. Yeah, that happened. That happened.
That boy looked like a kid that got his puppy took.
It's because you missed your man by like 7 yards, bro.
Yeah, because it looked like Jesse was surprised at the. He was like, "Oh, it's right here. Okay, cool."
No, I think Jesse was coming to make a hit.
He was.
Jesse was coming to make a hit.
He just looked. He was like, "Oh, the ball right here. Okay, cool. So I'll take it. Shit.
All right, I guess appreciate it."
Yeah, because he called him like he was confused. Like, all right,
that's what's up. But Tim Boyle is like. And it's not even slandered. It's not even like Kenny Pickett slandered. Like, Tim Boyle has been absolutely trashed everywhere he has played football after high school. In high school, you was the man, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. Back in high school, you was the man, homie. Since he finished, he has been trashed. Every single place he has played football. You know what? You know what he looks like? He looks like a high school athlete playing NFL football. That's what he looks like. Right? Yeah. Like it's bad. It's bad. But it did make our defense look good and it helped me feel better. 13-8. Gotta win. It's feeling good. So now we're about to look up to this super huge matchup against the Bucs next week. Give it like 15 seconds. Next week versus the Bucs. All right, so we're looking at next week versus the Bucs, right? Surprisingly, this game is for control of the division. We are sitting at 6-6 right now. The Bucs, coming off their win, are sitting at 5-7. They're sitting right behind us. 6-7 is going to lead the division if we were to lose it based on NFC and AFC opponents. Whereas 7-6 and moving them to 5-8 will give us a stranglehold on this division. This is a huge game, right?
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to undersell it at all. This is a pivotal game in Arthur Smith's tenure as a Falcons head coach, right? Winning this game will go a long way to you winning a division. And I'm going to be honest with you, no matter how bad this division looks, winning it is going to buy you an extra 2 years. It's just facts. So we talked about this maybe 3 weeks ago. Their defense is legit, right? Now, they played against Bryce Young this afternoon. A lot of people look really good against Bryce Young. But he did have some promising he had some promising moments, right? And I think it's because he actually has an offensive play caller that believes in him. So when we face them 2 weeks from now, we might be seeing a slightly different quarterback than we saw in week 1. But regardless, that defense looked really good. One of the emerging pieces of the offense is their running back, White. Man is running hard, bro. He's running hard. Doesn't necessarily he had a decent day-to-day, really heady, smart play at the end of the game. They won 21-18. Carolina stuck around for really long. Usually we make the joke Baker makes turnovers, but he actually ain't been turning the ball over at a super high rate lately. And then Bowles he's a mastermind on defense. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be able to dial up stuff that's going to make Ritter think, right? And as we've known throughout the year, when Ritter is decisive and he is on point, that ball gets to where it needs to go. The offense looks smooth. When he has to process and think a little bit more, he's a little more hesitant in putting the ball. Granted, he makes mistakes because he doesn't want to make mistakes, right? Instead of being able to play loose and free, he's kind of like, I don't think I should throw the ball there, and then that results in a strip fumble. So I think Bowles is going to be putting enough things on his plate to make him think, and I think that puts us in an awkward position. Not only do I think we'll win this game, but we have to win this game, right?
Oh yeah, we have to.
Strictly for what it means. So overall, I'm looking at 21-17 type of game. Basically the same game they played against the Panthers, just us coming out on top. What you thinking, my man?
You said 17-21?
Yeah.
Honestly, let me see. Is this going to be a home game for us? We are.
I think we already played in Tampa. Yeah, we played in Tampa already.
I think we about to assert some dominance this upcoming week. I think Ritter's about to have a good game. I think Drake London's going to have probably a 100 piece.
Look, bro, I need it in the worst way because this Drake London for 1,000 yards on the season is looking rough right now.
Today definitely hurt the brand. But I think he gets back on track next week. I'm gonna go 28-17.
So you got him scoring 4 touchdowns. That's How often? What's our highest point total for the year? 24?
28.
28. Yeah, that's our highest point total for the year. I don't know, man. I see us around like 21ish, just because I feel like their defense has a lot of really good points. But if you want to be honest, our Buccaneers episode last time we played them was red zone is the dead zone. we were definitely moving the ball against them and found ourselves in the red zone multiple times. That's
Yeah,
when we had, what was it, 3 turnovers in the red zone?
somebody had like
Or
400
no, three
yards.
turnovers total. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the fumbles. It was the fumbles. Yeah,
Hmm.
Ritter had three because he had what the fumble snap, the fumble running into the end zone, and then another fumble. So yeah, that
London had a fumble.
no, I don't think. Oh, yeah, no, London didn't fumble. London didn't fumble. Because
Yeah, he
London
did.
he tried to dive into the end zone and then they just rolled him out at the one. That wasn't the fumble. It was the next play after where he fumbled the snap.
Yeah. Yep. So that was just, we moved the ball really well. Moved the ball
Yeah,
really well against them. So you want to be able to replicate that again. And I think we have more than enough firepower on offense to move the ball against them. And Bichon didn't really play that game.
no, he didn't play that game. He didn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
he was
that's
in
what
as a decoy. I think he touched the ball
yeah
once.
yeah at the end of the game. Yeah.
So
Um,
looking
yeah,
at it, I could see it. I could see it. All right, so we're looking at next week versus the Bucs, right? Surprisingly, this game is for control of the division. We are sitting at 6-6 right now. The Bucs, coming off their win, are sitting at 5-7. They're sitting right behind us. 6-7 is going to lead the division if we were to lose it based on NFC and AFC opponents. Whereas 7-6 and moving them to 5-8 will give us a stranglehold on this division. This is a huge game, right?
yeah, it is.
Um, I don't want to undersell it at all. This is a pivotal game in Arthur Smith's tenure as a Falcons
Oh,
head
definitely.
coach, right? Winning this game will go a long way to you winning a division. And I'm gonna be honest with you, no matter how bad this division looks, winning it is gonna buy you an extra 2 years. This
Yeah.
is just facts. So we talked about this maybe 3 weeks ago. That defense is legit, right? Now, they played against Bryce Young this afternoon. A lot of people look really good against Bryce Young. But he did have some promising he had some promising moments, right? And I think it's because he actually has an offensive play caller that believes in him. So when we face them 2 weeks from now, we might be seeing a slightly different quarterback than we saw in week one. But regardless,
Maybe.
that defense looked really good. One of the emerging pieces of the offense is their running back, White. Man is running hard, bro. He's running hard. Doesn't necessarily. He had a decent day today. Really heady, smart play at the end of the game. They won 21-18. Carolina stuck around for really long.
Yeah.
Usually we make the joke Baker makes turnovers, but he actually ain't been turning the ball over at a super high rate lately.
Yeah, not a
And
super
then
high rate. Yeah.
yeah, and then Bowles is he's a mastermind on defense. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be able to do he's going to be able to dial up stuff that's going to make Ritter think, right? And as we've known throughout the year, when Ritter is decisive and he is on point, that ball gets to where it needs to go. The offense looks smooth. When he has to process and think a little bit more, he's a little more hesitant in putting the ball. Granted, he makes mistakes because he doesn't want to make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of being able to play loose and free, he's kind of like, I don't think I should throw the ball there, and then that results in a strip fumble.
Yeah.
So I think Bowles is going to be putting enough things on his plate to make him think, and I think that puts us in an awkward position. Not only do I think we'll win this game, but we have to win this game,
Oh
right?
yeah, we have to.
Strictly for strictly for what it means. So overall, I'm looking at 21-17 type of game. Basically the same game they played against the Panthers, just us coming out on top. What you thinking, my man?
Um, you said 17-21.
Yeah.
I honestly, let me see. Is this gonna be a home game for us? We are. Yes, we are
Yeah, I
at
think we already
home.
played in Tampa. Yeah, we played in
Um,
Tampa already.
I think we about to assert some dominance this upcoming week. Um, yeah, I think Ritter's about to have a good game. I think Drake London's going to have probably a 100 piece.
Look, bro, I need it in the worst way because this Drake London for 1,000 yards on the season is looking rough right now. You
Yeah,
understand?
today definitely hurt the brand. But I think he gets back on track next week. Yeah. I'm gonna go 28-17.
So you got him scoring 4 touchdowns. That's
Yeah,
how often. What's our highest point total for the year? 24?
28.
28, 28. Yeah, that's our highest point total for the year. I
Yeah.
don't know, man. I see us around like 21 ish, just because I feel like their defense has a lot of really good points. But
It
if you want to
does.
be
It does.
honest, our Buccaneers episode last time we played them was red zone is the dead zone. We were definitely moving the ball against them and found ourselves in the red zone multiple times. That's when
Yeah.
we had, what was it, 3 turnovers in the red zone?
Somebody had like
Or
400
no, three
yards.
turnovers total. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the fumbles. It was the fumbles. Yeah,
Hmm.
Ritter had three because he had what the fumble snap, the fumble running into the end zone, and then another fumble. So yeah.
London
That
London had a fumble.
no, I don't think. Oh, yeah, no, London didn't fumble. London didn't fumble. Because
Yeah, he
London,
did.
he tried to dive into the end zone, and then they just rolled him out at the one. That wasn't a fumble. It was the next play after where he fumbled the snap.
Yeah. Yep. So that was just we moved the ball really well. Moved the ball
Yeah,
really well against them. So you want to be able to replicate that again. And I think we have more than enough firepower on offense to move the ball against them. And Bichon didn't really play that game.
no, he didn't play that game. He didn't. Yeah,
And
because
he was
that's
in
what.
as a decoy. I think he touched the ball
Yeah,
once.
yeah. At the end of the game, yeah.
So
Um,
looking
yeah,
at it,
interesting.
I could see it. I could see it. Um, I just don't want to undersell that, like, excuse me, as we move into this game, we have to be thinking about the fact that, like, we might be without AJ, we might be without Landman. That puts us on our third string linebacker. How is their offense going to attack us? Because Mike Evans had his way with AJ. You know what I'm saying? He gonna, you know, put him on a luau if it's a Cuda and just spit him
But
over the fire.
Kuda is better versus bigger receivers than he is the shiftier guys.
Bigger, slow receivers. Mike Evans
No,
is not
no,
slow.
he's not slow, but he's better. It's just more for him to get his hands on. He's better against the bigger receivers. It's not speed on. It's just bigger.
Pause.
Man, no, I'm saying it's just bigger guys. We grown, man. We ain't pausing
No, I'm
nothing.
messing with you. I'm messing with you.
No, but Akuda does better versus the bigger receivers. So if AJ is unable to go, I would expect to see that matchup, and then I don't think it'll be as bad as people would expect it to be.
Which is true. Which also means we got to handle Godwin, right? So, like, he was in and out of the game last time.
Yeah,
Now you've got a full complement of receivers, and you've got a running game to kind of go with it. I think this is going to be a pretty good test for our defense. So one of the things that I really want to challenge our offense, like them niggas is listening to me, like, but I'm saying, like, one of the things that I'm really looking for as a challenge to the offense is complementary football, like we did not play today, right?
mm-hmm.
I do not think this is going to be a field position um, punting type of game. I think this is going to be, hey, when you get the ball, at the very least, I need a field goal. At the very least, I need a field goal from this drive. And
Yeah,
so I think as that pressure continues to mount, because I don't think that we can be down 14 to this team and it not snowball,
yeah,
right? Whereas, like, where was a game? The Panthers. If we get down 14 in the Panthers game and it's pretty early on, set mid second quarter, I don't have a thought that we can't come back. I feel like this Bucks team is kind of a snowball. Definitely a big momentum based team.
Yeah,
Baker's a highly emotional player. You know what I'm saying? And like once they get started rolling, I feel like 14 can easily become 28. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And then you're kind of playing from behind. You're falling into Vita Vea, Devin White. And now all these exotic blitzes being thrown at you, and now we got a repeat of the Jaguars game. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Where you might show a little something in the second half, but you can't really overcome the deficit that you kind of built up in the first.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah. Uh, don't want no snowballing. So
28's a lot.
it's a lot, but I think it's doable. I still think it's doable. If we can move the ball the way we was moving it last time we played and just capitalize on those mistakes, because we should have was really supposed to beat their ass when we last played them. Like if we just being real.
We really did. We left 21 points on the table.
Yeah, so I
We left
think
21 points on the table.
even if you could turn them into three, it's still we still gonna be close to that 28 that I think we can get to.
Because what we win? We won by, was it 3 points?
What week was that? Like
About a month ago, about 4 weeks ago.
week
About a week ago. Week ago.
7. We won, yeah, 16-13.
Yeah,
We
we won by
left.
3 points.
Yep, and we left 21 or 9 points on the board.
Yeah, I'm saying if you want to average that out, was 30. We left 15 points on the table. That's a 31-13 game.
Yeah,
That's a 31-13, and that's a beatdown.
yeah.
You know what I'm
So
saying? So
and we was moving
no,
the ball
definitely.
well, so I think we can replicate that. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna stick with that 2017.
I like it. 21-17. I think we're gonna sweat it out a little bit. But let's look as to why this game is as important as it is. We're gonna check out in division and see some of the playoff scenarios surrounding it. So next in division, my man, when it really boils down to it, next week is kind of for the division, right? We're sitting at 6-6 right now. Obviously, we talked about the fact we're coming off win versus the Jets. Next week is versus the Bucs. The Bucs are right behind us at 5-7, coming off a win versus Carolina next week versus us. The Saints are sitting at 5-7, but they're sitting at third because they lost to the Lions today. That's another NFC loss, right? So they lost 33-28. Derek Carr got hurt again. They're in shambles. They're a mess. But Boudin, right? Carolina is sitting at they're sitting at 1-11. They just lost against the Bucs. They're next up versus the Saints, right? So
Mm-hmm.
reasonably, the Saints are gonna get an NFC win back, right? And
Yeah,
be sitting at 6-7. If we were to lose, all three teams would be sitting at 6-7, and we would actually have the least amount of NFC wins, and we could fall all the way down. We would fall to second because we would still have the tiebreaker over the Saints as of right now. But 6-7 would lead the division, and the Bucs would be the
yeah.
one leading it.
Well, the thing is like I think if we get down, as long because we're the only team that hasn't lost in the division, so
Mm-hmm.
that helps us out tremendously. So even if we lose one and we just win the others, we still should be fine. So
Now, that actually folds me into looking at the rest of the schedule, right? So we play the Bucs next week. Next week we play the Bucs. In 2 weeks we play the Panthers. Then we play the Colts, the Bears, and we close the season versus the Saints. Right? I would love to go 4-1 through that stretch. That would be absolutely amazing.
if I would let it go 5-0, I think it's possible.
No, well, so the reason I say 4-1 is because the game we can lose in that is the Colts. Not saying I want to lose versus the Colts, not saying we should lose versus the Colts. But if there's a game where we're going to lay an egg, the Colts, right? The reason why other four teams are NFC teams, three of them are in our division. Um, we absolutely so if you got 4 more wins, you're 10-7, right? 10-7 wins the division. You'll have out of your 10 wins, 8 of them will be NFC wins. You're in no matter what, right? At that point, either you should win the division handily at that point because if you win all those, that means uh, the Saints and the Bucs didn't win out, obviously, because you would have had to beat them. Now, if you're 9-8, that means you lost 2 games. You would still want one of those games to be the Colts, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that situation, losing to the Bears wouldn't be the worst thing. You don't want to lose to the Bucs or the Saints, but even if you did, you could still technically win the division at 9-8, but you're sweating it. You're sweating it at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
8-9 doesn't get you in the playoffs, and you were in grave danger of losing the division at that point, right? At 8-9. So if you go 2-3 versus this stretch, and your wins are the Colts and the Panthers or Bears, you've lost this division.
Yeah.
So don't want to understate the importance of this game and the game that's going to be coming 2 weeks from now, right?
I mean,
So the
essentially,
Colts
every
game,
game is a playoff game from here on out.
basically, and you hate to put that amount of pressure on it 5 weeks out, but that's kind of how it's looking based upon how our division is looking. And people talk all that crap about the NFC South, but the winner is going to have 9 or 10 wins. The
Maybe.
winner of the NFC South is going to have 9 or 10 wins. No, it's math. It's math. It's math. It's the way it's lined up.
I still don't think so.
So check it out. If we go 1-4 during this stretch, right? The Saints go 1-4. No, if we go 1-4 during this stretch, we're 7-10.
7-9. Oh, 7-10. Yeah.
Yeah. If we go 1-4 during the stretch, we're 7-10. There's no way we made the playoffs, right? Because we would have lost to. No, we would have lost to the Bucs and the Saints.
That still makes it possible that we can make it though.
No, because they play each other.
Yeah, but that still makes it possible that we can make it though.
We would have.
There's still a way that there's a team under 500 can still win a division.
I think under 500 might be 8-9.
Well,
possibly.
8-9, yeah, there's still a way that a team without 9 or 10 wins can win this division.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our division winner is going to have 9 wins. At minimum, I'm pretty sure our division winner is going to have 9 wins.
It's not mathematically locked. We got
hold on,
5 games.
I did this earlier.
We got 5 games left. It's very possible.
Hold on, because I did this earlier.
Because we lead the division at 6-6.
Yeah, so we lead the division at 6-6, right? Saints got Panthers, Giants, Rams, Bucs, and us, right? So that, like I was saying, those 2 teams play each other. So let's just take the Saints, right? Let's say they beat the Panthers. That's 6 wins. They lose versus the Giants and Rams. If they beat the Bucs, that would be 7 wins. Then they would have to beat us,
which would be 8.
So 8-9. Yeah, 8-9 could win the division.
That's what I'm saying. 10's not a lot. 10's not a lot because you got to realize the Bucs won the division last year at 7-10 or 8-9.
I think they won it at 8-9.
Yeah.
So I think 8-9 might win it. 8-9 might win it again, right? But reasonably, 9-8 you could be sweating it. 10-7 you got that division as a lot. 10-7 you have it as a lot.
I'm not confident any of these teams is hitting 10 wins.
I would love to go 4-1. Like I said, I would love to go 4-1.
But I'm just not confident about that 10 wins. I'm looking at about 8 or 9.
So, but check it out. So check this out. Should we beat the Panthers?
Yeah.
Should we beat the Bears?
Yeah.
Right? Even with their revamped defense and Justin Fields looking like he can actually play ball, we should beat both of those teams, right?
Those are
2 NFC wins.
Those are the 2 only gimmies, though. So that puts us at 8. So that still leaves.
That puts us at 8. I'm not worried about the Colts game as a win or loss, right? I would love to win it, I would love to win it, but like if we all end up with the same record, that win doesn't necessarily help you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we beat the Colts and then lose versus the Bears, then like I would much rather flip flop those games in terms of letting us, get to the playoffs. So I'm not overly worried about the Colts game at all. In fact, if we were to lose it, I would. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? As long as you get out of there healthy. But losing the Bus game this week, being at 6-7, with 4 games left, even if you split those and go 8-9, if your 2 losses are to the Bears and Saints, you fucked yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You screwed yourself. My bad. I'm trying to get better at cursing. Screwed yourself.
We human, man.
So that's what I'm talking about with the playoff implications of it, right? So like 8-9, you're going to be sweating it. 9-8 should have it, but 10-7, it's a lock. It's a lock.
Mm-hmm.
10-7, you're locked in, right? And now looking at the Saints schedule, it wouldn't be impossible for them to string off a bunch of wins, bro. Because
I'm saying 10 locks of the division. I'm just saying, but it's not a lock that anyone
yeah,
gets to 10.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that January 7th, they got it to be decided right now. As a start time, I would not be surprised if that January 7th game gets flexed because
Prime time.
that looks like it might be a division winner.
It would be nice to see us on prime time for once. I mean, it will push our schedule back a little bit, but I mean, it still would be nice to have that. It still would be nice to have that prime time game, though.
Yeah, but I mean, because you look at it, they're sitting at 5-7 right now. They could beat the Saints and the Giants. That's 7-7. They could, even if they lose versus the Rams, that's 7-8. If they beat the Bucs, they're sitting at 8-8. You know what I'm saying? You look at our schedule. We beat the Bucs, beat the Panthers. That's 8 wins. We lose to the Colts. We're 8-7. If we lose to the Bears, that's 8-8. You know what I'm saying? So then week 17 is for the division. Even if some combination of losing to one of those 3 NFC teams and the Colts will give us 8-8, the division. Like, so yeah, I think that's why they're leaving that January 7th game open. It's because if either one of us go on a streak right here, like they go on a they go, hey, look, I guess I wasn't moving enough. If they go on a 3-1 streak and we go 2-2, like that last game of the season is going to be for the division.
Yeah, I think that's
which
also
means the
what
winner
it's going to
gets.
come down to, though.
Mm-hmm. And the winner gets in at 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what if they go 2-2? They be 7-9. We would have to go what 1-3. But Tampa would also have to go. Tampa would have to go 1-3, and then their one win would have to be the Saints.
Yeah.
It's all messy.
Yeah.
It's all messy. But the easiest way to fix it is handling our business, right?
Yeah, that's it. We control our own destiny.
So, last thing, we're gonna get into some city talk, check on how we doing around the league and whatnot, and then we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. All right. So first thing I wanted to talk about in city talk, bro, it's a good year for defense.
Oh yeah.
It is a good year for defense. Touchdowns are down across the league. I feel like defenses are much smarter in how they're attacking offenses, right? But another little theory I had, my tinfoil hat on, we have an abundance of teams that are running very similar play styles that kind of all spawned from that Shanahan tree, right?
Yeah.
And I feel as coordinators continue to look at the same schemes over, because when you really boil it down, everybody kind of using the same plays. You just put your own little twist on it, right? If you're in a certain coaching tree, right? If you're in a certain coaching tree, you have kind of like a base skill set of like plays that you're using, and then you kind of build upon that, move that around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at it, it's like I'm seeing the same team over and over again. You got on a different jersey, but I'm seeing the same team, seeing the same schemes. You might waggle at 7 yards. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having a boot action to go all the way 9. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And your crosser may stop and go in field instead of dragging all the way across the field. But either way, I'm seeing the same type of offenses over and over again. With that being the case, I feel like defenses are doing a much better job scheming to stop these offenses. And only the highly innovative coaches, like your Ben Johnsons, your Kyle Shanahan's, are still putting up these gaudy numbers scoring.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm looking like, bro, defenses are outpacing offenses like hell this year.
Yeah, no, it is. It's just because like we need that next level of innovation. Because the defense have caught up because the teams that truly know how to execute them schemes are thriving. Everyone else is just doing they version of copycat.
And I feel like it gets like when you derive it over and over again, how much juice you gonna get from that limit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
no, because like that's what happened to us with Dan Quinn when he was our coach. He milked that cover 3, and by the time he got to us, people was like, "Oh, we know how to beat him now." So it kind of ran its course. So he had to reinvent himself with Dallas.
and he totally has, right, in terms of he's running much more man concepts over there. Um, he's but I always thought he was a really good D coordinator.
No, no, he is. He is.
What's the dude that went to Jacksonville
Who
before Dan
Del
Quinn?
Rio?
From the Seahawks, he went to Jacksonville from the
Gus
Seahawks
Bradley.
before Dan.
Gus
Gus
Bradley.
Bradley. Gus Bradley was really the architect of that defense right before they were the Legion of Boom. Then Dan Quinn got behind him, right?
Yeah,
Or do I have those
and he
mixed
took
up?
it up another. No, it was Gus Bradley first. Then Dan Quinn came behind him and took it up another level.
Mm-hmm. So like by the time he did take it to another level, I always thought he was a really good D coordinator, right?
Yeah, he is.
So
He
like
is.
when he came to us, I just think like some of the more nuances of being a coach, whereas time management,
Well,
you
but
know,
it's I think just the cover 3 thing probably ran its course
mm-hmm.
because if that was the
Because
case,
like
he would have he would have still been running the cover 3 in Dallas if that was the case. So sometimes you have to get removed from a situation to take a step back and reevaluate yourself. So
and I
I
think a
think
lot
that
of
like
offensive coaches are running into that this year.
yeah, because like I think that hopefully with us that alters after this season, he's able to self reflect, self evaluate, and make the necessary changes to take our offense to that next level.
So one of the things that I was talking with my real nerdy football friends about was you can't just throw a playbook away in the middle of the season, right? And
Oh
like
no,
it's
you
one of
can't.
those things
Absolutely
like,
not. Yeah.
yeah. It's like you know that. You know what I'm saying? You mentally know that, but you're kind of like, I'm frustrated with what the play calling is or whatever,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing that's gonna drastically change about this offense
This
until
season.
the offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I fully expect because like even I was talking to one of my friends about the he's a Steelers fan, right? And he was just talking about, oh yeah, Matt Canada's going to offense is finally for the chance. I said, no, it's not. The play caller has changed, but the plays are still going to be the same plays I've been running all year because you can't just
Hmm.
start from scratch in the heart of the season. Like
It doesn't
you
happen.
working. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So y'all still running the same plays. The playbook just didn't go away. Just the play caller did, and I'm not sure if a lot of fans understand that part.
Yeah, when you go, fire the offensive coordinator, like even if the head coach takes over play calling, offensively or defensively, you know what I'm saying? You fire a
Yeah,
coordinator and the head coach takes over play calling. The same, like, prime example, the Chargers.
yeah,
The Chargers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they fired their defensive coordinator last season. Like, he took over the defensive play calling. They're running the exact same scheme. They're running the exact same scheme. Teams know how to attack them. They're getting burnt the exact same way. And they got players. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's not just like they got dudes over there. So I think one of the things that I look at overall is just that offensively, we do need another level, right? When you see people, I think that's why people like Ben Johnson or the Texans head coach or Texans offensive
Offensive
coordinator
coordinator, yeah,
are
from
going
the
to be
Shanahan tree.
real big names this offseason.
I just for the sake of CJ Stroud, I hope the Texans offensive coordinator at least stays one more year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, he's only been there 1 year. Just build it up. Ben Johnson, I do see is probably the top name going out this year, but I would hope that Bobby Slowick decides to come back for 1 more year.
I
And
mean, I think I think he might just in terms of people want to see it twice, right?
yeah,
People want to make sure it's legit. Uh,
yeah,
what was it? I think it was Peyton Manning. No. Who was it? Russell Wilson. You know, Russell Wilson's offensive coordinators have never gotten a head coaching job.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's very interesting.
right. Never gotten a head coaching job.
Meanwhile,
Go
you
look
got
it up. In
people
fact,
like meanwhile, you got quarterbacks like Matt Ryan who was just handing out head coaching jobs to his offensive coordinators.
no. So that's one of the like benchmarks of are you a great quarterback? It's like kind of how do you develop the coaches around you as well. You look at Peyton Manning,
Mm-hmm.
both of his offensive coordinators got head coaching jobs. Both of his longtime offensive coordinators, Tom Brady, both of his offensive coordinators got head coaching jobs. Uh, Carson Palmer, his whole coaching staff got a job at some point, right? And so when you look at like I think CJ Stroud is elevating the people around him, but I think people want to make sure they see it twice, right? How are you going to react when are you still going to get in the lab this offseason or are you just going to come in next season and try to do the same thing that worked, right?
Right.
And then
Try to get in the lab.
the
Always
last
be
thing I want
elevate.
always, if you're not moving, you're dying. Shark life. Um, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the high end QBs on the NFC side of the bracket. I think at this point in time, you're
Or
just
lack
being a hater if
thereof.
you don't lack thereof, right? I think at this point in time, you're just being a hater if you don't acknowledge Brock Purdy as a high end quarterback. Like it is what it is. You can say it's the team. You can say, oh, he's got an all star cast or whatever. The dude's the dude is playing like a all pro caliber quarterback. Like it is what it is. It's not. It may not be what you want to see or what your eyes want to believe. You may just be too stuck on his draft position. It is what it is, bro.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Jalen Hurts, obviously, high end quarterback on the NFC side. Dak, technically, right? Technically a high end
No,
quarterback.
Dak been balling this year. Dak been balling
Yeah,
this year. Like
Dak has been
people
Dak
don't
has been
like Dak,
playing,
but Dak is a high end quarterback. At least what he put on film this year, he's a high end quarterback.
and then Jared Goff, right? I still put him in that
Yeah,
category, but each
yeah,
so the last three guys that we named outside of Jalen Hurts kind of do have a stigma about them, right? In terms of what their perception is, or maybe playoff capabilities, or like long term ability to go perform. People all like have a mindset about those three quarterbacks.
mm-hmm.
Then you get to another tier, and I think when we think about there being high end quarterbacks in the AFC side and not on the NFC side, it's because the AFC side has a mid tier, and the NFC side goes from Jared Goff to a decrepit David Carr or a still don't know if he can keep the job Ritter, you know what I'm saying? Or like there is a huge drop off after those four quarterbacks. And there's no mid tier there, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
we can't really elevate those three guys to Jalen's category, and then there's no mid tier. And so I think that's why people think like the NFC is just bad for quarterback play, right? Whereas in the
right.
AFC, you got Pat, right? Who's obviously Pat's Pat, but then you got Lamar Jackson, you got uh Justin Herbert, you got hell, Russ was playing good. You know what I'm saying? Then you still got a mid tier of like Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson when he was healthy, C.J.
Mm-hmm.
Stroud is in there, and then you have your bottom tier,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that I also think this presents an opportunity, right? Especially for
Yeah.
somebody like Ritter. The pathway is open for you. The pathway is
Yeah.
wide
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
for you. I was watching the Colts today, right? You realize when Anthony Richardson comes back, the most senior quarterback in that division is going to have 4 years of starting experience.
Yeah.
Trevor
Lawrence,
Lawrence.
right? Right. Yeah.
Lawrence is going to be the most senior quarterback in that division. Stroud's going to be there for the next 10 years. Richardson, if he stays healthy, should be there for the next 10 years. And like Levis had a really good game against us, but I think he's shown like today wasn't his fault. And I think he's
No.
shown enough that they're going to roll with him next year.
Yeah, they're gonna. I think no doubt they're rolling with him next year.
So like that just becomes an increasingly like tough division. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a hard division. Ritter doesn't face that. Just don't. You got Bryce Young in your division, right? The Saints are pot committed to Carr, and the Bucs, if they do draft a quarterback, it'll be the second round or later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be
And
first. You never
so
know.
I think they're gonna be around 20 something. And to be honest with you, I think if this season ends the way I think it will, in which they're sitting at 5-7 right now, I think they end 7-10 or 6-11. They're gonna fire Todd Bowles, right? And I think at best they'll get a bridge because their defense is still on paper pretty good, and if not pretty good, it's paid for.
Yeah. I mean, no,
It's
I
like
still
having a
think
used
they're.
car that you can't exactly trade in yet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I
I mean,
still love this car? Not really, but I can't necessarily afford a car note to trade it in right now. Like defense is
right?
paid
Yeah,
for.
I understand that. Yeah.
So you're looking at it, Ritter has it all laid in front of him. It's really just on his end, right? And when we get into the playoffs, outside of having to go to Philly, there's not anywhere I really feel like we just gonna get the brakes beat off of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we gonna end up in the NFC Championship game or in the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
if Dallas comes to us in round one, and then we have to go to uh well no, San Francisco might beat the brakes out of us. But like if we got to go to San Fran or Philly in round two, that might be where it ends. But Dallas coming to us doesn't scare me as much after seeing that Seattle game and seeing how we played.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said earlier, about the Jalen Hurts comp, I feel like Ritter's facing that type of trajectory, so I do expect next year to be a breakout year for him if they give him the opportunity.
I think it'd be stupid at this point not to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a huge. I told you what I thought. Like his ceiling would be from
Especially
day
if we
one.
make the playoffs. If we make the playoffs, then you got to give him one more year. Give him like 'cause the thing is the one thing we mentioned on our offense is a true separator at receiver. Because Jalen Hurts, he took that next step when they got him a real number one receiver.
Mm-hmm. I feel
Drake
like
London
London's
is
a real number one receiver.
no, not Drake London. He is, but we need like that other guy because Drake London he's a volume guy. The, but we need a guy that's gonna like put a little more stress on the defense because Drake London he's just one of those guys to where you can like there ain't really much you can do to stop him if he's on because he's not really gonna outrun you, but them hands are strong. He's a big body, like he's just gonna boy you. But the next evolution of our offense needs to be a separator. It's a shame that we had to trade them when we had Calvin Ridley, but
I
if we
mean,
can get someone with
circumstances.
a skill set, yeah, circumstances, yeah. But if we can get someone with a skill set along that line, then I think that's going to open up our offense even more. We don't have that. We don't have that Chris Rock runner guy.
So do you think that the fan base is gonna and I agree, definitely, right? I do think that is a missing piece in our offense. Is our fan base ready to hear a name like Rome Okuda called in round one?
Who's at the
You feel what
receiver
I'm
for
saying?
Washington? The
Yeah.
thing is, it don't have to be a number one receiver. It could be a trade. It could be a second round pick. Because honestly, I think our first round pick might be on the defense.
I think it might be on the line, to be honest with you.
It could be line, but just based off just the formula that they have been following, they want instant impacts in round one. Whether because you got Pitts, London, Bijan, they were all instant impact players. If they take alignment,
Hmm.
I expect it to be around 2 to 3. Purely because for the most part, those picks have been we're going to develop you a little bit with the intention of starting you at some point during this season or the next season. Bergeron was the exception, but he also got that nod because of injuries to Matt Hennessy. I think they probably wanted
Hmm.
to start Matt Hennessy this year. So just due to the formulas, I expect whoever they take in the first round is going to be a starter. So I'm looking at maybe somewhere on the defense, whether it could be a corner if they don't bring a quarterback. It could be a receiver. Might not be the most popular thing. Um,
I don't think
yeah,
receiver would be popular at all. I think corner would
it would
kind of be a sexy pick. I think corner would kind of be a
it,
sexy pick because I think everybody
corner.
was kind of okay with Christian Gonzalez last year
Yeah,
prior to the Okuda trade.
hell, it could even be a linebacker.
I
If
was
they feel
thinking
like
that, especially with the attrition that we've had at linebacker, but we got people coming back next year, and I
we do,
haven't.
but
Oh, yeah,
the like you said, the draft is a economic exercise, but it's also an opportunity to raise the floor of your roster. So
true,
if you have an
true.
opportunity to upgrade your room, why not? Especially if you know that they can come in and make the impact, or you have a strong belief they can.
Especially in round one, you definitely, like you said, instant impact
Yeah,
starter or somebody who's going to make like somebody who's going to make over the course of the season enough plays to get you over the edge. So if you make the playoffs, you're talking about picking at 22, 24, somewhere in there, right? Picking at 22, 24. What linebacker are you getting linebacker number 4 on the board at that time? Are you getting wide receiver number
typically,
6 on the board at that time? Like,
typically linebackers like aren't really going early in drafts. So like wherever we pick, we probably would have our choice of linebackers, assuming there's one worthy of the number pick.
yeah, no, so that's what I'm saying. Like outside
And
linebackers do go hella high. Outside linebackers go hella
no,
high.
I say inside because I'm not
Inside
talking.
linebacker. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. How about
but I'm just talking about just in general, just take whoever you think is the best player available that's going to make an impact, and
mm,
that's what Terry showed. He doesn't care about position of value. He's not scared of taking who he deems the best player at any spot in the draft. So
well, shit? If it's a strong safety, let me know.
I
Let
mean,
me
yeah,
know if it's a strong safety.
it
'Cause
could it very well could be a safety too. Someone that, to where you could bump Richie Grant down into that big nickel slide whenever we do go big nickel.
but here's the thing, man.
It's a few areas you can go.
Alfred is balling, bro. Alfred is
I'm not saying
balling.
I'm not saying I'm not talking about replacing area because like we do have our 3 safety sets. That's what I'm talking about. Whenever we do go
Hmm.
into the 3 safety sets, then you can have Richie Grant play that third safety. I'm not talking about taking Alfred off the field, but there are times where he's not on the field because they want to play 3 safety. Because even now
Mm.
we've been playing DeMarco Helms a lot lately these past 2 weeks.
He has been getting some burn in, bro. And damn, we didn't even talk about him. He had a decent game today. Two
Yeah,
tackles, two tackles. Yeah. Um, no pass breakups or anything like that, but solid day out there, and he's getting some burn. We're
yeah,
actually seeing our rookies contribute, right? Him and
yes,
Clark
yes,
Phillips.
yes, yes. But
So, hey, you guys, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for sticking with us all the way through. I think since we're paying for this, we are going to be a lot better on time. so,
yeah,
so this has been your boy Q City.
your boy Taj Bravado.
We out.
Peace.